Center for Equality and Diversity was part of a 2017 project on sexuality education in schools in Norway. And most of the information is from this report. And the report is based around a teaching toolkit called Week 6 and is offered free of charge to all teachers in Norway, with recommendations that in week 6 of the year, all schools should include sex and sexuality in their teaching schedules. Sexuality education is typically approached in one of 4 ways, either focusing on health, criminality, sexual identity and diversity, or an holistic approach that includes all of the above. The underlying principle suggested by the Week 6 toolkit is holistic, that having both the knowledge of sexuality and being a competent sexual decision maker is important for one's physical and mental health. It can prevent sexual assault, discrimination, and bullying, and it is the foundation for good sexual health. As a general rule, sex and sexuality is not included in teacher education in Norway today. Teachers develop own competence based on personal interest and identification of need, but nothing is standardized. Some schools solve this by inviting outside actors such as a doctor, midwife, health visitor, or someone from an NGO or similar that works with the issue. Some of the teachers we spoke to said that this was not ideal, as these were subjects that the students felt it easier to talk about with someone who knows them well, like their teacher. And someone said the opposite, that it was easier to talk to an objective outsider about such sensitive issues. The baseline of Week 6 is that sexuality should be integrated into the overall teaching plan and included in all subjects taught that week. That means that rather than sex and sexuality being the subject of a science class or a health visitor stopping in to talk about condoms and sexually transmitted diseases, classes will discuss consent and sexuality norms, do practical assignments and watch informational films and so on. The toolkit itself is quite film heavy, which the teachers report they find useful, as it is a teaching tool that is effective with young people who are used to visual input. We hope that this example from Norway with the Week 6 method could be an inspiration for working with sexuality education in your school.
So, about sexuality education in Estonia. Generally, we can say that sexuality education in Estonia has quite long traditions and is relatively well developed. It was already back in 1996 when mandatory school-based sexuality education was introduced in the school curriculum. And by 2004, sexuality education was nearly universally implemented in Estonia. Estonia's sexuality education program is holistic in character. It aims to guide young people throughout life, supporting their ability to learn and make conscious and respectful choices regarding relationships and sexuality. Holistic sexuality education at younger ages differs from that at older ages. While younger children learn about proper names of body parts and about relationship, then later topics like biology of reproduction, romantic relationships, ways to prevent pregnancy, sexual diversity, and so on are discussed. So when does school-based sexuality education begin in Estonia? It starts in the kindergarten. Estonia's national curriculum of the preschool childcare institutions sets out the task of contributing to the child's physical, mental, social, and emotional development. Kindergarten teachers are supposed to address in a playful way, of course, topics such as my body, feelings, and safety. Young kids are taught what is private and forbidden to others, how to take care of the body, and what touching means and what it involves. Mostly teachers discuss these issues when relevant issues pop up or when children themselves ask questions. And they are willing to do that, really. Some teachers may also set aside special time for discussing these topics with kids. And then sexuality education continues in basic and upper secondary schools. In basic school, meaning ages between 7 and 16, it is part of the subject of personal, social, and health education, where almost all issues concerning sexuality and health are discussed in detail. Among other things, pupils also learn to respect themselves, to know their own boundaries, and to say no when someone steps over those boundaries and to respect the boundaries of others. The national curriculum for upper secondary schools for ages 16 until 19 also continues with mandatory sexuality education within the personal, social, and health education discipline. And it's also integrated in a wide range of subjects, such as literature, biology, social studies, health and safety, values and morals, etc. So what about training of teachers on sexuality education? Do they feel comfortable talking about these issues in Estonia? One thing is certain, without knowledgeable and skilled sexuality educators, even the best curriculum will have very little impact. Personal, social, and health education is included in the university training of teachers in Estonia. And this initial training is complemented by numerous in-service training courses, which are widely available and popular. Teachers can also attend one-day courses on topics such as gender stereotypes, dating, violence, healthy relationships, you just name it. Estonian teachers have a lot of autonomy when delivering the curriculum, so sexuality education lessons can vary a lot across schools. Teachers are free to design their own lessons, choose textbooks and other teaching materials. And this is where they really need help, and they are also provided this help. Just to get a glimpse into Estonian teachers' resources, I'll show you two publications. First, this is a very handy and practical resource that you see here. It's called Sexuality Education for Preschool-Age Children, and it talks about body, feelings, and safety. And this is intended for teachers working with kids from 4 to 7 years of age. And second, it's a sexuality education for the second and third levels of education. This is a teacher's book, which was first published in 2005, but this is an updated version because everything changes so fast in the contemporary world. And apart from discussing young people's sexual development and sexual rights, it also addresses some sensitive topics like sexual identity, pornography, sexual violence, and etc. And what is also important, it offers absolutely ready-made lesson plans, worksheets for the teacher and students, visual materials, and interesting activities. And even though it's aimed at working with 11 to 16-year-old students, it can also be used in upper secondary schools. And these books build on the principle underlying all sexuality education. A little too early is better than a little too late. A lot of sexuality education in Estonia is also taking place outside the formal school setting. The Estonian Sexual Health Association, for instance, organizes lots of out of school activities for youngsters and provides them free sexual education training and reproductive health counseling, also online. And it continuously supports school sexuality education, especially in talking about difficult and sensitive topics. And maybe it's also worth mentioning that in Estonia, we follow the World Health Organization standards for sexuality education in Europe. And all this has produced dramatic improvements in sexual and reproductive health outcomes among young people in Estonia. So school-based sexual education in Estonia is work in progress. And learning for the students, teachers, and even curriculum designers in order to respond to the new demands presented by the changing social environment. We could, of course, talk more about the whole model that Estonia is applying, but I think you still got some insights into how it works in Estonia.